Finally, we can all sit down, relax, because racism has been solved. It has been cured. And it's come from the most unlikely place, Crystal Dynamics, the Tomb Raider studio. They've literally obliterated racism and all its problems. How so? Well, by simply making Lara Croft the Tomb Raider not a Tomb Raider anymore. That's right, because when she was a Tomb Raider, that was racist. That was extremely bad, and that needs to be purged. So it's Lara Croft, but she's a truth seeker. She's a freedom fighter now. She's no longer going to be a Tomb Raider. That is what they are saying. Basically, Crystal Dynamics and some sort of partner they're working with on a tabletop RPG, they put out a statement that we'll go through where they denounce Lara Croft and everything she previously stood for, especially in those old PS1 titles. You might have been enjoying them like me, the new remasters where you're going through tombs, solving puzzles, tank control, platforming, which is like the Dark Souls of platforming, let's be real. And they said, no, we're moving away from those completely. We've never liked those games, which they've been open about before, but now they're being very formal with it. They are literally saying that Lara Croft will no longer be a Tomb Raider. It's always quite funny because the only reason it's worth them even coming out with anything at all, the only reason anyone's reading what they're saying is because the Tomb Raider brand, it's very popular. People enjoy it. Those games sell. And they've built those profits. The only reason any of these people at Crystal Dynamics are really employed these days is because of that IP. Because of Lara Croft, because of Tomb Raider. And it seems like that they can't stand that. They can't stand that the popularity, the reason money's going into their pockets, the employees there are getting paid, it's literally because of a character they hate, and really that's because they hate gamers. They hate the fact that most people who like Lara Croft like her because she's an attractive woman who doesn't have a flat chest. They've tried to change that over the years. The Lara Croft character model has changed. They've done their very best knowing, we've still got to make her visually appealing or no one will buy the games, but we're going to change her visual design because there's too much male gaze going on. I mean, we had Angelina Jolie in the original movies. They replaced her with someone who looks nothing like the old Tomb Raider, and I don't think anyone cared about whatever the last movie was. I can't remember what it is. So really, Lara Croft as a symbol, it's the old one. The PS1 Tomb Raider, it's what people remember, and Crystal Dynamics are going to change that. They've had their reboot series. That's over, they're making new games, and they've made it very clear that Lara Croft will no longer be raiding tombs. It says here in this tweet that British adventurer Lara Croft will transition from being a raider of tombs to a seeker of truth, as Evil Hat Productions and Crystal Dynamics seek to redefine the Tomb Raider series in order to escape its colonial past. And here is the statement as well. Now, some people have pointed out that this isn't technically a Crystal Dynamics statement. I mentioned that they're working with this other company on a tabletop RPG. However, this is like the lore of Lara Croft. And if they're talking about transitioning, it's not getting that bad, by the way. She's not transitioning into a male or anything. We're talking about transitioning from a raider of tombs to a seeker of truth. And essentially, if they are talking about this lore, Crystal Dynamics absolutely signed off on it. This is the direction. Again, they rebooted the series with a trilogy where you had, like, Shadow of the Tomb Raider and all that not long ago, but now they're starting yet again with new games. And it sounds like in whatever the next video game is, she's not going to be a Tomb Raider, just like she's not going to be in this tabletop RPG. So in the statement, they mention Evil Hat Productions, that's the tabletop company, and Crystal Dynamics seek to redefine the Tomb Raider series in order to escape a history wounded by colonialism, according to an expert from the official Tomb Raider Shadows of Truth RPG rulebook. Raiding as depicted in the original Tomb Raider games and stories involves going to ancient tombs and historical sites of different civilizations and acquiring artifacts. Now, I wouldn't consider myself the Tomb Raider expert. Again, I've been struggling my way through the remasters. Again, those tank controls are very, very tricky. The Dark Souls of platforming, I kind of suck. But when playing those games, you're sort of beating evildoers to these artifacts that are quite dangerous. I don't feel like I'm just going into tombs by myself stealing treasure, which would also be fine, by the way. This is a video game. Have a setting that's fun. The main character, it doesn't always need to be a good Samaritan. We don't need to be playing as Greta Thunberg, who the people who like this crap probably hold up on a pedestal as what they consider best person in history. But you don't have to do that in a video game. Sometimes it's alright to be an arsehole. Not to say that Lara Croft is. It seems like in some cases she's actually saving the world, because if these evildoers got their hands on these dangerous artifacts that could spell mass destruction, then we might all be in trouble. So good on Lara Croft. But apparently all that doesn't matter. Even if evildoers were to get their hands on something that could secure world domination, none of that matters, because Lara Croft is being racist by going into these tombs. So she should let well enough alone, let the evildoers destroy the world. At least she's not a racist and she can sleep well at night. So that seems to be the priorities here. The statement goes on to say, it operates on the assumption of finders keepers that grants raiders with the means and the drive to claim ownership of artifacts, regardless of whether they have any historical or cultural claim to the treasure. Isn't she a thief? I don't think she goes in and steals something and sort of says, like, this is technically mine now, like, I am within my rights to go in here and take this finders keepers. I think she's got the self-awareness to know she's basically a thief. Tomb Raider, the name suggests, well, you're raiding tombs. They're not opening the door for you, letting you come in to take things. You're going in, you're stealing things. That's okay. Again, it's a video game. Later games released in the franchise have started the work of addressing this by having Lara Croft acknowledge her past mistakes and try to understand and show respect for the cultures and communities she comes into contact with. Now, this is just patting themselves on the back. Crystal Dynamics, again, they obviously approved this statement, even if they didn't write it themselves. And I'm inclined to think they did actually write it. It's just copers pretending they're not involved. Because Crystal Dynamics, they hate the original games. I think there was a very strong rumor that they were actually trying to stop the remasters of the PS1 titles ever seeing the light of day. They saw them as a stain on the brand, even though, again, it's the only reason the series is popular, and the only reason these clowns got the rights and got the budget to even make a reboot, because Lara Croft is such an icon, and it is because of the original. So now they're giving themselves a trophy, essentially, for we're working to address all of this racism. By that definition, all they're really doing is they make Lara Croft a sympathetic figure, another whinger for the most part, another victim, personal problems, oh my goodness. You can never just have a video game where someone's being cool, killing people because they want to, stealing things for the sake of it. You can never have that. There's always got to be some sort of humble beginnings. It can't just be entertainment and fun for the sake of it. And I don't care. I mean, the reboots, I've had some fun with them. I haven't played them all, but I've played, I think, the first one, maybe the 2016 one or something like that. They're okay, but they felt like kind of a mix of an Uncharted clone with a bit of puzzles, a bit of Zelda sort of stuff in there. They don't really feel like the older ones, where it is primarily puzzle solving. At least the first one, that's the one I've got the most knowledge of. I think there's a bit more combat later on. But essentially the original ones, heaps and heaps of puzzle solving, and I felt they were very dumbed down in the reboots. Like, they were scared that gamers were too dumb to be able to solve puzzles. We always hear about the yellow paint on ledges. It's that sort of design philosophy, not letting anyone think for themselves. So Crystal Dynamics, they seem to think their audience is stupid, as well as hating the originals for all these racist reasons. And it continues here, she has also worked to reform raider culture and raise the awareness of her peers. Oh, I didn't realize there was such an honest culture, an honest guild there, where the thieves, who are literally out for blood, they're trying to kill each other, be the first to get this treasure. Oh no, they just need to have a good chat around a circle about racism and how this is not okay. No more raiding these tombs to find your fortune. Maybe open a museum or something and hand the keys over to people of colour, the people whose cultures you're robbing from. That's the right thing to do. Go and get an honest job. No more of this thieving. I'm sure that's going to work. I'm sure that's going to play out really well in a video game. Lara no longer decorates her mantle with mythic artifacts, As a raider, she prioritizes seeking out the truth. I see she's gonna have up on her wall the Communist Manifesto or something like that, Karl Marx on the wall. I'm sure that's what they're gonna do in the next game, let's be real. Much of this game is inspired by her humanity, struggle with heroism, and her tenacity. We believe that all three aspects are an important component in creating a game that celebrates history and culture while acknowledging the respect and work required to live in a world wounded by colonialism. Now, I'll be honest, if you're looking for three things people want in a Tomb Raider game, seeking the truth, none of these are relevant. People want big tits, attractive Lara Croft, guns, shooting, and if we add a fourth, puzzle solving as well. That's all anyone really wants. They don't care about any of this crap. Celebrating history? No, I'll read a book for that. I'm here to play a video game. I'm here to be entertained. It ends here with, in this game, we seek to continue in that work alongside Crystal Dynamics by creating a sandbox for you to tell stories that address colonial themes in play. So they're basically talking about the tabletop RPG. If I had zero interest, I'm in negative interest now on this stupid tabletop game because it sounds like it's not true to Lara Croft in the slightest. Sounds like garbage, and if anything, all it has done is made me extremely skeptical about future Tomb Raider games. I've already been concerned about those rumors that Crystal Dynamics didn't want the original remasters to be released. I think there was like a screenshot of the new Lara Croft. It seemed like to me, it was like halfway trying to be like the PS1 Lara Croft design, but then they made her face look like a man or something. It was almost like two artists were in a struggle. No, we want Lara Croft that looks like that Fable main character abomination. You know the one I'm talking about. And then another artist who was a bit cooler was like, no, we just want the PS1 Lara Croft. Let's go back to that, make it all look a little bit better, a little bit more modern. Let's do it. But not to be, sadly. Now, I've seen some posts that are solid, so the Tomb Raider community, even on Reddit, which is usually known for buying into this sort of nonsense, even they're not happy with it. Someone says here, a statement that seems to ignore that quite a few of the artifacts that Lara has acquired are pieces containing immense power and capable of mass destruction. The knife from Tomb Raider 2 that turns people into a giant immortal dragon, for example, which when used with Atlantean technology is capable of producing Eldritch abominations. Not everything she's collecting is just a gold statue from dead civilization. So again, she's literally saving the world. But that's a bad thing, because she's being racist while doing it. The end doesn't justify the means, apparently. No rewards for you, Lara. Stop what you're doing. It brings me back to this disclaimer message. This was from a couple of months ago when the remasters came out, and the disclaimer basically said that we don't condone all the racism and depictions of people and cultures inside the classic Tomb Raiders. And it's a statement that you see once and you don't see it again. And these idiots online, they were banging on about, oh no, this disclaimer doesn't matter because you see it once and then it's gone. What are you, a snowflake? Are you so offended that seeing this upsets you? Well, as usual, these people didn't see the point. The reason people were concerned was not about 5 seconds of a message and then you move on. It's the cultural rot within these game developers. People will say slippery slope fallacy, but it's real. This slippery slope is real. Where you start here with a message, now you're talking about literally changing who Lara Croft is, who we've come to love and know in these video games, the reason we play, which is a cool badass girl killing people, solving these puzzles, stealing treasure, getting the fuck out of there. That's what we want to play. We don't want to be lectured to now. Colonialism, we need to give you our brand of history and how you would think. That's the way it's going. So it started here with this stupid message, and now apparently Lara Croft isn't a Tomb Raider anymore. Something to keep in mind. This is always the way it goes. Thanks so much for listening. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye.